All right, this next one is going to be about what's happening on the home front during the Cold War, dealing with the Red Scare, which is the hysterical fear of communism. Okay, in 1947, President Truman issues Executive Order number 98 blah 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 blah. It doesn't really matter, guys. You don't need to remember the Executive Order number. Okay. Creating the Federal Employee Loyalty Program. Okay, let's break that down. Federal Employee Loyalty Program. So what are we looking for? Well, we're probably looking to see if there's any traitors within the federal government, right? Truman sought to root out communists in the federal government. Ta-da, okay? That's what that thing was about. So we're going to come up with to a question in that. Joseph McCarthy, okay? So Joseph McCarthy is a freshman senator. It's his first year in office, and he wants to become president of the United States. And he doesn't want to wait 30 years to become president. He wants it now. So he is going to use any opportunity he can to leap forward and to make a name for himself and power for himself. So Joseph McCarthy is a U.S. senator that accused the government of being infiltrated by communist agents during the late 50s, creating a climate of suspicion and mistrust. This era is called the McCarthy era. Okay, McCarthyism is basically, this guy had one move. Okay, he would look at high-ranking officials that were higher than him, and he would say, "That guy's a communist, and I can prove it." Okay, and then he would fish out some evidence, some crazy evidence. He would make stuff up. He would have pictures of the senator he was talking about shaking hands with Joseph Stalin and stuff like that, and saying that he's a communist. Well, they were photoshopped. Okay, you could actually, now it wasn't a computer program back then. You would actually physically have to cut the photograph up and place it together and then make a new copy. Okay, and they could do a pretty good job of it. Okay. All right, in the U.S. after World War II, McCarthyism and the Cold War contributed to a rising public fear of communists. Okay, that's the correct answer for this one. Communism is going to be the answer for a whole lot of questions, folks. Joseph McCarthy creates the House on Un-American Activities Committee in Congress and investigates the possible presence of communists in Hollywood. This causes several actors and directors to be blacklisted. Blacklisting means that you add somebody's name to a list and those people are not allowed to be hired. Okay, you basically bad-mouthing them behind their back. The House on Un-American Activities Committee had to be the coolest job ever. Okay, so, and this is why. These senators would actually go to a private movie house, okay, and all day long they were paid to watch movies and look for communist themes. They got free drinks, and I'm not talking about Coca-Cola. They got free drinks and free food delivered to them anytime they want, and they watch movies all day long. Okay? Not a bad idea. Okay, well, it's a bad idea, not a bad job, I wouldn't say. But anyway, beginning in 1947, many Hollywood actors, writers, and directors were blacklisted because, well, they were suspected of being communists. That's why, okay? If they found any kind of communist storyline or anything that could be perceived as communist, Joseph McCarthy would get the names and he would accuse these people of being communists. Now, one of the people that he accused of being communist really backfired on him. He was a young Democrat named Ronald Reagan. Okay? Ronald Reagan was an actor, and at the time he had not yet joined the Republican Party like he would later on. Ronald Reagan told Joseph McCarthy in a Senate hearing where he had to defend himself that not only was he not a communist, but he would actually help Joseph McCarthy by making anti-communist propaganda films during the Red Scare. Commercials, not films. Sorry. All right, here we go. President Truman's administrations emphasized internal security by, okay, arresting all the members of the Communist Party? No. Outlawing the Communist Party in the U.S.? No. Seeking to find those individuals that were security risk? That sounds pretty familiar. Okay, investigating the loyalty of government workers. I think this is the one, right? Okay, let's go back and check. It says it is the Federal Employee Loyalty Program, right? He's seeking to root out communists in the federal government. Check the wording. Investigating the loyalty of government workers. All right, there we go. Now, this right here is Joseph McCarthy, and we will be going over this political cartoon because it has showed up on the leak test before. So, McCarthy is sitting here. He's got a doctored photo in one hand and a faked letter in the other, and they are both burning, as if to say that he is lying. His hands are getting charred. He's got sweat coming off of his forehead. This man was brought down by his faulty evidence. What ended up happening is, it was brilliant. McCarthy, who was kind of running low on targets, he said that several top generals in the U.S. military were communists, and he could prove it. So they called these guys in, these generals, and the general stood up and said, if you're accusing me of being communist, I want the evidence, and I want it right now. I'm not some Hollywood actor that you could push around. Joseph McCarthy said, I don't have it with me. Let's reconvene, and we'll come back tomorrow. Okay? So the generals agreed. Overnight, McCarthy ended up manufacturing with his workers a bunch of evidence. But it was done overnight, and therefore it was done sloppy. They took the evidence to the CIA, and they examined it, and they showed exactly how these letters and how these pictures, these doctored photographs, were actually fake. And Joseph McCarthy's whole career came crashing down. He actually had all of his rights removed as a senator, and he was barred from ever being in public office again. For the man that wanted to be president of the United States, this was too much for him to take, and within 3 years, Joseph McCarthy died from liver failure from becoming an alcoholic. So, that was the end of the McCarthy era. So, the guy that helped bring him down is political cartoonist Herb Block. He did this one right here. And several other ones that basically said that McCarthy was full of crap. Okay? Political cartoons that attacked the McCarthy era, witch hunts, will coin the term McCarthyism. Promoting one's political career through outlandish claims. That is what McCarthyism is. Okay? And that's it for McCarthy.